What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler, and in this video, I'm just going to be giving an update on my journey in preparing for my return to college. This is episode 2 of my new Countdown to College series. More specifically, what I want to talk about in this video is kind of how I've been preparing myself from a mental standpoint to get myself ready and primed for that classroom environment again. Because when you go an extended period of time without learning, you start to experience rust. I genuinely believe that, and although the ability to learn isn't something that goes away, it is something that has to be trained just like any muscle would. And so I want to train my mental muscles as much as possible before I actually return to school so I can maximize my productivity and take full advantage of the opportunity that lies before me. Now, without question, this has been a long time coming. I was last in college approximately November of 2021. I ended up getting expelled by my former university in 2022. I hadn't even attended a single class that semester because I got expelled from the very beginning. And I've talked about that experience in plenty of other videos if you're interested in learning more about that. But just to give like an abridged recap, I suffered a 6 month long episode of bipolar disorder mania. And over the course of that manic episode, I developed psychosis. And I was experiencing a myriad of delusions and hallucinations, which impaired my ability to be productive, affected my discernment in a negative way, and was overall just very detrimental to my mental stability. And this was reflected in the reaction and perception of those around me, my friends, members of my fraternity, and members of my family. They all noticed the same thing, and certainly the doctors noticed. I ended up getting hospitalized for 5 days at one hospital near my college, near my former college, and I also got put into outpatient for a decent chunk of time in the aftermath of my manic episode. So I've had my fair share of experience with hospitalizations, and I'm bringing this up because when I'm in school again, I don't want to overwhelm myself. I've stressed in my prior video how I believe that balance is key, which is a piece of advice and wisdom that I was actually given by a medical professional many years ago. I don't want to overwhelm myself and trigger another manic episode, even though I'm on medications that severely diminish the probability that I'll go into another manic episode. It is still a possibility, and stress can be an enormous trigger. That's why I decided to enroll in a 15 credit course load for this upcoming semester, just to get my feet back in the water. I want to make sure that I'm swimming along with fine strokes and that I don't sink and fade out, right? That's my objective. Recently in the mail, I received some books, and I mentioned how I've been preparing for my return to college from a mental standpoint. I've been reading every single day, and I have been journaling almost every day. I ultimately want to go to law school. I want to become an attorney. And one of the first things you have to do to embark on that journey of becoming an attorney is you have to take the LSAT. And so, knowing how important this test is in the process of becoming an attorney and wanting to prepare myself to be in the best position possible to earn a high score, I decided to order 2 LSAT preparation books. I got the LSAT Trainer by Mike Kim, and I also got LSAT Test Prep, which contains 6 practice tests for me to get a diagnostic score of where I am presently, so I have something that I can build off of leading up to my entrance into law school. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. The first step is to finish my undergrad education. Now, the university that I'm going to, it's pretty large. I actually visited it recently for when I was picking my courses and meeting with my academic advisor. And it's definitely going to be an adjustment because there's a lot I'm going to have to learn, even in the simplest terms of where do I go to get to here or there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little stressed out about it. And I just want to make sure that I get the most out of my college experience. My remaining 2 years of my college experience can be extremely beneficial, or they can be an extremely negative experience and quickly become the bane of my existence. I don't want the latter option. I want the former. I want this to be a beneficial experience. I want to develop and learn and evolve and prepare myself for the rigors of law school. There's no such thing as too much time to prepare, in my view. I think that getting ahead of things and not procrastinating significantly reduces the levels of stress that any particular individual may feel. That's certainly the case with me. Whereas when I procrastinate, it's such an overwhelming feeling of having all that intense pressure. It's like a burden on your shoulders. And this may vary different for different people, but in my case, it actually hampers my productivity. I have heard others say that they feel like they're at their best and like their writing is at the highest level when they have very little time to get done what they need to get done. I can't say the same for myself. I'm someone who prefers to have a long period of time before the examination date so that I can prepare as much as possible while minimizing the levels of stress that I experience in the process. So I picked my classes. Today, I actually went and got my physical examination done. I also printed out my vaccine records, both of which I'll have to send over to my university prior to this incoming academic semester. So I'm just getting done what I need to get done and taking things one day at a time. I think a big component of having a healthy return to college, and perhaps this will come across dumbfounded to some, but I believe that I do need to get more of this weight off in order to bolster my self-confidence, increase my self-esteem, and to put me in the best position possible to learn. That's another thing with me, and perhaps this may vary person to person, but I learn the most effectively when I am in a healthy body myself. Not just a healthy mind, but a healthy body. Both of these things are intertwined, that are both necessary components of leading a healthy life. And I don't intend to neglect either one for much longer. I got to take things one step at a time. And one of the things I have to do is really just get into the gym for longer periods of time because I have actually been going a decent amount. Just to give you an example, 9 of the last 10 days I've exercised for 30 minutes or more, and for 4 of those 10 days I've actually exercised for an hour or more. There are a few days where I exercise for 50 minutes, just shy of an hour. But the bottom line is that I'm definitely meeting the exercise standards that are often delineated by medical professionals. You know how they usually say like 30 minutes 5 times a week, something in that area, or different variations of that. So I'm right there where I need to be, but I could be in a better place in order to expedite my weight loss progress, and that's why I put out a video earlier about how I'm starting intermittent fasting as of May 8th, 2025. And the reason I'm doing that is because intermittent fasting has worked extraordinarily well for myself in the past. I know it's worked extraordinarily well for so many others. And I have struggled with losing weight recently. Since May of last year, I've actually, I think, put on weight. I weigh 319 pounds now. So I'm taking things one step at a time. Focused on preparing myself mentally and I'm going to be doing as much as I can physically to also be more physically healthy before I make that ultimate return to college. But this is episode 2 of the Countdown to College series. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out any of my other videos, please do so. I talk about many topics on my channel, primarily mental health content, but I'm really practicing an eclectic range of content creation, and there's something there for everybody, you know? So like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and thank you so much, everyone.